Hey, what's up, you wonderful card fighters? Naboo Dragon here is back with another Cardfight Vanguard deck profile, and this time I got Gear Chronicle Standard. First, I need to address something. The reason I'm not doing any premium deck profile, as people asking a lot lately, is because the state of premium right now is pretty broken. Although I really love premium, like, to be honest, in my opinion, it's the better format, but that's just my opinion. But doing a deck profile on premium right now is pointless because it's either you play NLK or Razzle or you lose. It's pretty much like that. And all the other counters are pretty inconsistent. So, yeah. This time we got Gear Chronicles in Standard, which is one of my favorite decks. Like, Gear Chronicle is my favorite deck, has been my favorite deck after Narukami, like, for a long time. I started G with Gear Chronicle, the first trial deck, and then I made Gear Chronicle, and I like the most cards I got right now I own are like 80% of my cards that I own are Gear Chronicle. So like I got like every single build of Gear Chronicle stored, almost every single build of not so yeah. I'm really obsessed with this guy. I just love the artwork, the style, the time manipulating dragons and everything. And to be honest, first I was expecting it to be time leap when they announced it, but I'm okay with binding. The mechanic is fun. It took me a while to perfect this deck because at the beginning it wasn't working. I was constantly losing. And then I decided to run 4 grade 3s. And then I was experimenting with the grade 4 count, and I get to a better count, and I also change up the grade 2 and grade 1 lineup to make it like easier for me to bind, and also made the grade 2 and grade 1 to apply some pressure to my opponent. So let's begin. First off, we got one starter, of course. We got 8 criticals and 4 drop PGs and 4 heal triggers. Yeah, and that's basically the trigger lineup. You don't need to run more draws because the deck already draws a lot. Maybe it draws the most in standard after OTT, if I'm not wrong. Next up for grade 1s, we got 4 Prompty Worker, which is a really nice card. When placed from hand, you take a card from your drop zone, put it into bottom of your deck, and if it's a grade 3 or greater, you Soul Blast and you draw one card. So that it's really good. You can reshuffle your grade 4s into your deck if you have already used them, because you have a limited amount and you have to use it again, or other cards that you want to use, even triggers. Next up, you got 4 copies of Veg Move Dragon, which is your practically your stride fodder here. And also the first skill is pretty nice. It on hit it draws and binds one, but basically you're after a second skill, which is the stride fodder skill, because yeah, you're not running many. You're only running 4 grade 3s, and your grade 4s are used for striding mostly, or binding, as I'll get to that later. So this is one of your primary discard target for the cost of striding. Next up, you got 3 copies of Retro X Dragon, which again is a it binds, and it also bounces a grade to your hand from the drop zone on boost. So it's really nice, grade 1. I was thinking of running what they call the mage one, that grade 1, which restricts your opponent's guards. Yeah, that's really nice too. But then I switched to this card because it's working better right now. But I don't think this card is coming in English. So I'll in English, obviously I'll be running that other grade 1. But for the sake of this deck profile, I'm gonna run 3 copies of Retro X. Well, still, if you're gonna make this deck in English, you're gonna run the other grade 1. If I'm not right, it names Kylan or something. I'm not sure. That restricts your opponent's guard, intercepts, and also your opponent can only guard with 3, or maybe it's about your opponent has to guard with 3 or something. I'm not sure, but obviously that's the better option in English. But right now, yeah, this is a really nice promo. Next up, we got on grade 2 lineup, we got 4 copies of Lost Break Dragon, which again is a really good grade 2. It's your primary right target for a grade 2 if you get that in your hand, because you can just bind one card from your hand. You can also choose from your hand, and then you can draw one. So yeah, it filters your hand, and you can bind the card you want to. Now, next up, you got 4 copies of Gun Puzzle Dragon, which is a really nice grade 2 on counter plus 1. it gains 5,000 for every gear of your Vanguard. So if your Vanguard is a grade 4, it gains plus 20,000. So it's 30,000 beat stick if I'm not wrong. And so it's overall it's a really nice card, and plus it binds itself at the end of the battle. So yeah, that's another plus point. Next up, you got 4 copies of Steam Mechanic Naboo, which is also a good card. At the beginning, I was using it too much, but then I realized it's not that great. But still, it works pretty fine if you wanna restrict your opponent's guard. The reason I thought it's not so great is because using it in the early game is pointless. You have to use it in the late games. So what you're basically doing is, once you have used your grade 4 for striding, you can call this Naboo and bind that grade 4, making enough grades in the bind zone for the next stride, and also restricting your opponent's guards that he or she can only guard with grade zeros. And yeah, so that's a pretty decent card, but still not one of my favorites. Then we got our grade 2, which we are only running 4, which are 4 copies of Interdimensional Dragon Knight Lost Legend. This card is really nice. It has a force marker on riding from, so it gets counter plus 2 and plus 1 draw. And the best thing is, it lets you stride. So yeah, in standard we don't have the stride ability on the grade 4. Instead, it's the grade 3 that lets you stride, and this one does the thing. And it's the only grade 3 we got that lets you stride. So yeah, it's definite 4 off. You cannot run less than 4. And yeah, there's no other explanation to do. It's an obvious 4 off. Next up, on the grade 4 lineup, we got 4 copies of Interdimensional Dragon Mystery Flare Dragon, which is your MVP of the deck. I'm running it at 4 because even though you cannot pull off the 19 bind skill of the extra turn, the first 3 skills are still really good. Because most of my games I won without getting to the 19 skills. I only won maybe 2 or 3 games using that skill. But most of the games I can still pressurize my opponent with the first 3 skills. You constantly keep striding this. You constantly keep pressurizing your opponent. And yeah, and the plus point is, if you're running Narukami, you always be hitting the 19 skills. So yeah, that's another thing. So yep, this card is really good. The first 3 skills works great. You have a triple drive, you have 2 crits, you have plus 10k. So and you're stacking force marker on your Vanguard. So it gets to 50 something, 53ks or 43ks depending on how many markers you have stacked. Overall, it's a really amazing card. Next up, we got 2 copies of Interdimensional Dragon, Idealize Dragon. So this card is your other grade 4 you're running. You're only running 2 copies because you don't actually get into this that much. It's not that great. It just fills up your field when your field is empty, and the amount. Yeah, it's one of the cards you use early game. So it's probably your first stride. You get into this first, and because it only requires 3 for the first skill. You kill off your opponent's 1 rear guard, and then you activate the second skill. You call the top card of your deck to rear guard, which sometimes gets a trigger out, which I hate the most about this deck. But this card, sorry. And the second and the third skill, you choose 2 from drop zone and call them, and 3 of your units rear guards get plus 3,000, which is again it's pretty good. Overall, it's the main reason I run it is you need to bind it. You only get it into this once, and then after that you just keep constantly striding into Mystery Flare. And yeah, now to get into some basic playstyle of the deck, what you're gonna do is you have to keep binding grade 4s. Those are the cards that will get you to more grades in the bind, because they're obviously grade 4. And yeah, so you constantly have to keep binding grade 4. You only need to ride 1 grade 3, and then you can bind the rest grade 3s. That's why you need to run cards like Veg Move for striding. Another thing you can do is you use a grade 4 or grade 3 to stride. You use Prompty Worker to put that into your deck, and then you get another stride next turn. So you can circle your cards with cards like Prompty Worker, Retro X, Naboo. You can so that's really good about this deck. Now, yeah, that's it. You just have to keep binding. You keep binding the higher grade cards. you need to keep pressurizing your opponent, constantly pressurizing your opponent. And yeah, just the thing is, this deck needs a lot of skills to run. Maybe if like compared to other standard deck, and obviously in premium you got like almost every deck needs more skills than this. Not every, but almost every deck. But this deck in standard, compared to other standard deck, needs a lot of skills to run. You need to constantly think what to bind, and one mistake can lead you to your doom. So yeah, that's one thing. But overall, this deck is great, and yeah, I really love it. So thanks for watching. Please leave a like if you liked the video, and subscribe to my channel for more videos like these. And also in the comments down below, you can put on your thoughts about this deck. And I'll be doing maybe a premium deck someday, maybe. But right now I'm working more on standard decks, and cause the premium, I will do a premium deck after they hit anarchy or as well somehow. The thing is, cause like in premium, either those deck will be good against the other deck, but compared to anarchy or as well, they'll auto lose. So maybe I'll do a deck that is good against all the other deck, but anarchy and as well. I can think about something like that. But yeah. Also, a budget deck will be coming out pretty soon, maybe next week. And the thing with this budget deck is the budget deck and the real deck will be quite different. The playstyle will be quite different, like cause you won't get to run your mystery flare in the budget deck, obviously. If you're, but I wouldn't like in the other deck that I've done on the budget. I would get you like you can make the budget, but here I would like you to go for the full build if you wanna. But yeah, I'll do a budget deck too. It will be totally different. The playstyle will be totally different. But yeah, let's see how it goes. So stay tuned for that, and see you next time. Bye.